Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STL Tech Talk podcast. My name is JJ Hammond. We have another great show for you. Are you ready for the top tech news stories from around St. Louis? Apps you should download, awesome interviews, fun and lively commentary. Of course you are. Up first, our guest, currently enrolled at Washington University, majoring in political science with a minor in writing and marketing, who co-founded Farmplicity, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, during her sophomore year and sold it during her junior year. Then proceeded to co-found Champio, the very smart Jolijt Tamanaha.
Hi.
Hi, hello, welcome to the show. And sitting to her right, your left, hello, Logan Sorriento. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Welcome to the show, both of you. I'm so excited to talk to you about yourselves and Champio, so let's go ahead and get started. However, this show is not possible without my good friend, founder of what is the STL Tech Talk umbrella corporation, with minus the Resident Evil part, the uncanny Kevin Harvell. Say hello, Kevin.
Hello, everybody. Logan, Jolijt, thank you so much for joining us bright and early this Monday morning.
I know. Gosh, we need to start doing these a little later just because I'm not awake yet. Don't forget, everybody, you can follow us on Twitter at STLTechTalk, and that's kind of where we're most active. But we'll play around with you if you want to play, and Facebook or wherever, Google Plus, that sort of thing. Visit STLTechTalk.com, and don't forget you can interact with the show by sending us feedback to contact@STLTechTalk.com. And if you're watching us live, you can ask us questions via the chat room. We'll do our very best to answer those questions in a timely manner, or through Twitter. So you can hop on Twitter and shoot us a tweet and things of that nature. But Kevin said that we'll probably not have very much of the live stuff because we're not going to be tweeting that out. So sorry, everybody. We love you. Long time. Special shout out to Junie Ham, our last guest. Man, a lot of really good. I mean, you could listen to that episode, just his segment, because me and Kevin's are kind of meh, but just his segment. I'm just messing with you, Kevin. That's where you laugh. Over and over again, and you will get something out of it, I promise. So thank you for being an awesome guest. Also, I wanted to take a moment and thank the sponsors of our show, Heartland Realty. Go to heartlandhomesrealty.com for all your real estate needs today. And Unidev. If you dream it, they can build it. Custom software, end-to-end development, beautiful web design, and creative marketing solutions. They've been in business for the last 25 years with 200-plus customers, and they have 24/7 support, so you will not be let down or left out on the creation of your dreams. Do you or your company need content management systems, mobile app development, maybe e-commerce solutions, digital marketing and hostings? If so, go to our website, STLTechTalk.com, and click on their banner to get the high-quality service you deserve today. So let's get to it with the very first question. So, Jolijt, tell us what drives you as an entrepreneur.
Sure. What drives me as an entrepreneur? I think it's I fell into it a little bit. Didn't really do the first. So we started Farmplicity sort of in the middle of my sophomore year, and it was really because I saw this problem, and I was working in a restaurant at the time because I really liked food, and I saw this problem because I was talking to the chef, and he told me that he'd spent 4 hours a day just trying to source local food from local farmers. And then I went to see this movie, it was called American Meat, and in which they were describing the struggles that farmers had to sell their food, local farmers, and I just thought, oh, this makes very little sense, and I guess that was sort of what drives me, was just that initial frustration with the fact that there was a problem that I saw a solution to that didn't really exist yet. And I think it's the same with the new startup that we're working on called Champio, which is a platform that helps companies source social media content from their employees. And it's sort of the same thing. I was in a conversation and saw sort of the difficulty with which social media managers find social media content, and just thought, well, I have an idea that could solve it. And that's really what drives me.
That's really cool. How about you, Logan?
Good question. I also kind of just fell into it. Started working with Trackbill last year. Shout out to those guys. Thank you. Had a great time. Really, I like the speed of the problem solving. You never know what the next day is going to have. You can just kind of focus on today, and tomorrow might bring great rewards, or it could bring a step back. But you just got to keep moving forward. yeah, I really like that speed aspect to it, and I don't know, the desire to make a difference and solve some problems really appeals to me too.
I agree. I think the energy point is a good point. Like you get to, when you start a company, you get to live life with like a lot of energy because you need a lot of energy to do it, and that's really really exciting.
Yeah. Well, Kevin and I know that we're doing this full time, and it's one of those things like we eat, breathe, sleep, and well, I'm sorry, we don't sleep. Who am I kidding? We just eat and breathe this job. So that is really cool. See, I met you first at, what was it? I want to say Startup Voodoo, and when you were doing your presentations and that. But I was really impressed with you. It reminded me a lot. I went to this thing called like this DigiGirls event where a ton of young, smart, like women and girls came up to me, and they were all talking to me about how to maybe they structure some just different stuff, and I was like, all of you are younger than me. I hate you just a little bit because like you're younger and you've got life pretty much figured out, like economically speaking, and it's like whoa. That's crazy. So whatever I can do to help you, awesome. No, but it is the daily grind a little bit. I mean, because being an entrepreneur, you have to be driven. You have to be self-motivated. Like, I know that I'm going to get up in the morning, or I know that as soon as my feet hit the ground, I'm going to hit the ground running, and it has to be that way every single day. But the other part of it is, like you guys said, it's solving problems. I mean, a lot of the times we kind of create problems. We don't necessarily solve them. Does that make sense? Most entrepreneurs are like, oh, well, I want to solve this problem that's cool to me, but not necessarily is an actual problem, right,
Right.
for other people. So I really like that farmplicity. I mean, I'd like to know more about that. We can talk about that later. But Kevin, why don't you unmute yourself and ask these two your question?
All right, I was just trying to get the live portion going, but that's okay. Let me pull up the show notes again, and all right.
You know what? I've got your back, brother man.
All right, so for people that are not really familiar with Champio, tell us more about what Champio is and how it came to be.
Sure. So Champio, it's a web application, and on Champio, employees within a company compete to recognize valuable brand moments and share them with the marketing department. And then the marketing department can take the best ones and post them directly onto brand channels. And the idea is that when you take more of a bottom-up approach to marketing like that, then you end up with a lot better, consistently interesting, revealing, timely content that sort of gets followers to actually engage with your company and understand your company a little bit better. And it really came to be because I was working with WashU Dining Services here on Washington University's campus, and I was talking to them about their social media strategy. I was trying to tell them there's this one time that I was being whiny and had complained about the pasta at the pasta bar, and one of the chefs sort of pulled me aside and he was like, here, let me show you how to make it better. And he showed me how to add stuff to the pasta to make it more delicious. And I told him, I was like, that was a moment that you should have like taken a picture of that pasta and tweeted it. And as I was saying it to the woman, I thought, well, this is really, really bad advice. Because I was like, there's no way for her to actually do that because like she wasn't there. It was me and the chef. And she has, one office, and they've got 17 locations. And once I realized that, I thought, okay, really, it needed to be that chef. Like, he was the one in that moment that should have realized, oh, I should take a picture of this, and they should tweet it. And so I started looking for software that I could recommend to her to make my advice less bad, to tell her, like, oh, you guys should start using this because then you can actually do what I said. And I started looking for software, and I couldn't find anything that was, even like nothing that was going to get that chef to tweet that moment or to send that moment to her. And that's when I sort of realized, like, oh, this is an idea that might be something.
So Jolijt and Logan, how many members really are in the Champio team, and the rest of the team got together to come up with, to create all this?
Well, it started really with just the two of you guys, right?
Yeah, it started with me and my co-founder, Zach, but now there's 5 of us. Logan is one of the developers, and then we've got 2 other developers.
Nice, nice.
Nice, very cool. So, so walk me through, not the technical side, because I'll ask you that, Logan, here in a second. But walk me through what you envision. Like, if I have this software, how do I do? What do I do next? So I have the software. Someone has come up to me, and they said that they didn't like, I don't know, say it's a bank, right? And they didn't like their experience there, or they really loved it, or whatever. What do I do?
Yeah. So did you say it's a bank?
Sure, I don't know. It's early.
That's a really boring example.
How about like a pizza place? Can we do that?
Sure. So let's say you're a pizza place, and so it really works for companies that are like bigger than 4 or 5 people, right? So let's say it's a pizza place with like 3 locations, for example.
Perfect. I love that.
Got a handful
Like Emos, local. We'll give it a local.
Emos, there we go. So we're working at an Emos, and we are the pizza guys, right? And basically what happens is Emos has somebody who's in charge of social media marketing, and it might be like someone that's their job, or it's someone within the marketing department. But basically this one person is like somewhere in the Emos headquarters, right?
Right.
And they are supposed to come up with all of these tweets. What Champio lets them do is, instead of sitting in that room trying to come up with these tweets and ending up just posting really boring photos of like Emo's Pizza, they have us as the pizza guys on Champio.com. And so when I'm standing in the Emos and a customer comes in and says something like, oh, this is my dad and we've been coming to Emo's Pizza together for 20 years or something like that, just like a little moment that these are things, it might not be exactly that one, but they're things that happen every single day that are valuable. And that happens. And then I think, oh, that's so cool. I remember, like, we're on Champio because I want to win the game, right? And I'm like, this is perfect for Champio. So I'll tell the guy, like, hey, can I take a picture of you and we could tweet about your experience? And so then I take a little shot of him and his dad, maybe with like holding a pizza like that.
Right.
And then I just go to my phone and I attach the photo and write like Jim and his dad have been coming to Emo's Pizza for 20 years together, and hit submit. And then the girl sitting in the Emo's headquarters sees that and can post that out onto all of the Emo's channels. And then we get this sort of like really fun, constant stream of pretty intimate information about things happening all over Emo's.
That's cool. So do you have hooks and tie-ins? I mean, I guess this is the whole point, to basically all the social media platforms for that social media representative for the company?
Yeah, so Emo's Pizza would have currently it only works on Twitter and Facebook. But Emo's Pizza would have connected it to the Twitter and Facebook, and then could post that photo out. And they can also like schedule it so that it gets posted in the future and things like that.
So Instagram is obviously big, and the the Tumblrs and different stuff like that. It really wouldn't, now that I just thought about it, wouldn't be that hard to take that content, picture, whatever, and repurpose that and put it out on those other platforms. So that wouldn't be too difficult for me if I was their social media person to do.
Yeah, and our plan is to add all of those APIs as well. So sort of as the months go on, like we'll add Instagram and a bunch of other ones. LinkedIn should be done this week.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, because everybody keeps telling me about LinkedIn. I hate LinkedIn. I don't want to. If I get one more email from them. So Logan, on the back end, what does that look like for you? How do you obviously not getting away with anything proprietary, but so you work closely with the APIs, and what's the level of security? How do you handle that sort of stuff?
So I'm mostly a front end guy, not back end. But we're all we've got the like secure socket layer, protocol, all that set up. I don't know much about
That's what SSL stands for?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Boom goes the dynamite. We all learned something today. Yep. That's
We
what
have
we do.
that.
We do.
We do.
That's awesome. We have that. Yes, we do. That's cool. So when you approach design, it's a finicky subject, right? Or it's a finicky tool, because you're dealing with people who, for the most part, everyday normal people, they don't want to go the extra step. So you really have to go out of your way to place things in the right spots, to make it easy for that sort of thing. Is this, and it's not because I haven't looked, but I want our listeners to know, is this a browser-based application like a web app, or is it going to be pushed down to an actual application for mobile devices?
Right now, we just have a browser app. It's really responsive. It works well on, like phone size, iPhone, tablet, whatever. You stretch the screen to whatever size, and it's going to work.
Great.
It'll work well. But right now, the mobile app, we don't have plans for it yet. We'll probably bring on some more developers in the future to take care of that.
Awesome. Yeah, no, and I just asked that because some people are that doesn't bother me at all, and I think I with the web experience, and I don't think necessarily you have to go native, because if you can do the web application good or great even, then you're fine. So when you go into the application, is there a lot of user testing? I mean, do you have to like test it out yourself quite a bit, because you're like, somebody's going to complain about this part, somebody's going to complain about
Yeah, I mean, we're realizing things every day, that we can make better. It's never a finished product. We are starting beta testing now. We're in beta testing, so we're taking user feedback constantly, and if enough people want something, enough people don't like something, we're going to alter it and get rid of it.
Well, I was going to say we'll contact you after the show and see if we can't maybe be a tester, if you don't mind.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because we're always about that. So you recently were, not you, Logan, but you were recently in Dublin for the 4th annual Web Summit. Tell us about that experience, and what were some of your favorite things you brought back with you to help you move forward with Champio?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was 22,000 people in Dublin. There were all these techies, like every company from like a company as small as we are to like Google, Microsoft, Dropbox. Like basically every company in the tech space had a booth there and had people there, and it was just like I mean, I didn't sleep for an entire week basically. It was just like a massive party, like into the night as well, and met a lot of really incredible people. It was definitely, it definitely like took some work to get to the right people in a sea of 22,000. But we met like really incredible people that we actually are like following up with, like as in like they're actually answering my emails, which is great.
I know, because people say they were going to, but then that's like that call, like, oh yeah, here's my number, yeah, I'll get it with you.
Exactly, and then like you call like 9 times and they don't answer, and all that.
Right.
It's really sad. But no, that hasn't been. I mean, like some people are doing that, but like for the most part, it's been like really fruitful already. We got about 30 different companies who said they were interested in beta testing with us. Which is really exciting, some larger ones too, and then we started talking to about a whole bunch of like digital agency groups that are talking to us about finding ways to partner once we do a full launch. We met a handful of like really interesting investors and different people that will give us some great introductions. So that was all like really incredible, and I would recommend that anybody with a startup look into it. They have a lot of different programs where you get to go. So like we went through the alpha program where we got to exhibit 1 day for free and had to do like an interview and an application and all of that. But that was definitely worth it. And then they have different programs for all different. So like they have a program where like if you're a woman, you can apply and you can get a free ticket if they like your application. If you're a student, you can apply and get a free ticket. And it's just like really definitely worth it.
Well, you have both those things, so you're good, right? No, that's how you're able to do that. Well, that's really cool. We spent all last week, and I just want to give another shout out to the St. Louis Days of .NET individual guys and gals. That was so much fun. If you get a chance to go next year, at least one of you should go.
It was sorry.
It's St. Louis Days of .NET. It's like a total geek out for like back end, front end. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, just all around developers. It's like a developer conference here in St. Louis. About 1,000 people. Yeah, it's huge, and we're gonna have pretty much like we covered the whole thing, so you can catch up on it once we push out all the content. But we interviewed like attendees, people who were doing the session speak, and different, or the speakers and different stuff like that. And it's infectious, right? When you're around so many other people who are into wanting to make their own lives, like improving their own lives or speaking or networking or making those connections. It's really phenomenal, and you get to see some more real world, out there in the wild, how people are using different software, how people are, different stuff that I never heard of before, and blatant ripoffs that I almost started. They're like, no, that's a great idea, but somebody's already doing it. I'm like, man, no. But it's cool, like hearing some of these other things. So for you, the international aspect to it probably was just really cool, to get that international exposure, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, it was just really cool to hear from definitely people all over the world, like what they were doing, and also we got like a ton of feedback, which was really incredible because we had that stand, so we could do demos for people all day, which was like one of the most exhausting things I've ever done. But like it was great.
Right.
We got like a ton of feedback, and it was great to sort of be able to reach out to the larger like startup community that exists just like everywhere.
Right.
Those people are really hard to reach otherwise because like they exist everywhere, and so you can't just like bump into them on the street like you can here. So that was really cool. Another really great one that's happening like this week is Startup Connection right here.
Oh, really? Is it happening here?
Yeah, it's on Wednesday. And I think they're also expecting about 1,000 people, and they get about 75. I think they said 75 startups get to table. We'll be tabling there. So that one's pretty great too.
Oh, cool. We'll try to get somebody there for sure. So prior to launching Champio, you've already founded and sold at Farmplicity. Tell us what it was like from conception to startup to running it to selling it.
That's a really long story.
Oh, come on. I'm sure you've been asked several. Yeah. Oh, real quick, let me go back to this one because at the end of the day or at the end of the week in Dublin, did you feel like you were still talking even when you laid down? You're like, it's like you're still talking in your head because I'm still chattering from our last week experience. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I was on the plane on the way back from Dublin, and like I was flying into New York, and there was only like 2 direct flights I think every day from Dublin to New York. So almost everyone on this plane had gone to the conference.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm like standing I'm like waiting in line for the bathroom, and like the guy next to me turns around and he's like, "Hey, like did you go to the summit?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then just sort of like instinctively, because I've been doing it all week, I said, "Well, what do you do?"
You start demoing.
Yeah, like what do you do? And he turns to me and he's like, "Honestly, I really don't want to talk about it." And I was like, "Me either." I was like, "Great, let's just wait on this line silently and like go to the bathroom and not discuss it."
Right. It's that mutually yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even care if you're like Richard Branson. I can't talk about this. So.
I know. I can't. Not anymore. I'm completely tapped out. I may throw in like 5 or 6 numbers into a word. So if just brief high level the last question of Farmplicity.
Yeah, no, so like I said before, it was kind of by accident. I'm really happy because I noticed I watched that movie and I talked to that chef and I was really into food, and I just thought like, okay, well, this is a really interesting problem because like why does it exist, right? Because I just thought it's 2014 and like there's the internet and I think it's bizarre that like farmers want to sell to chefs and chefs want to sell to farmers and they just like can't make it happen.
Right.
Or it was 2012 at the time, and so I signed up for this entrepreneurship class at WashU called The Hatchery, and got a team of students joined me there, and we started working through like this problem and this like vague idea I had about like some kind of marketplace, and we started like working through it and ended up thinking like, oh well, let's build a prototype just because like we could do it, and we thought that that'd be fun. And so we did that, and as we talked to more farmers and more chefs and like had this prototype, we just thought like, this isn't really a prototype, it's actually just like the website. And we thought, and like all these farmers and chefs were telling us that they wanted it and that they needed it, and that combination of factors made it just like really too tempting not to put it on the internet.
Sure.
So
yeah.
we were like, oh, let's just like put it online and like call some people and see what happens. And it turns out it was like way harder than that, but
It always is. Yeah.
yeah. But we did that, and it was like April, I think, of 2013, I want to say, and we had like one really great growing season. We were able to grow really, really fast to ramp up for the summer, and I think at the time, by the time we sold it, about a year and a half later, we had over 230 farmers on board, and we had over 113 restaurants.
Wow.
And it just sort of like one thing led to another, and we all worked really incredibly hard because it was just like the momentum starts picking up, and then like you don't want to do anything else, and so you're just like really diving in, and we were able to build that up, and then it got to this point where we'd met this food distribution company that had trucks and warehouses, and we thought, well, Farmplicity is a like much better company, much more efficient with trucks and warehouses, and like much better able to capture some of the like demands in the market. And so it just like kind of fell into place, and we realized like that was definitely the best option for us as individuals, but also for just like Farmplicity as a company. It kind of just like took its own life, which was that was like probably one of the more interesting things that I learned from the whole experience, is that like a company, like you start it and you think that it's yours and that you're the one who determines what a company does, but it really isn't. It's like it becomes sort of like a living entity that like has its own needs, and you just sort of like the only thing you can do as someone trying to start a startup is like try and feed those needs and like figure out what they are.
Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah.
That's an old reference. God, that's terrible. I had not enough coffee this morning, guys. So, no, that is cool. So it's consuming your life, and it's sucking the life out of you like a vamp. No. So it's like a snowball going down the hill. So then somebody steps in, or did you approach, or how did the selling process work?
We approached them.
Okay.
They had talked to us earlier about partnering, which didn't really make that much sense to us at the time because it didn't seem like a good plan to partner with a food distribution company when like all we had was the marketplace, like an online marketplace and like a list of customers essentially.
Yeah.
And so like at that time it didn't really make sense. But then when we realized like, well, that's actually really the direction Farmplicity needs to move in, we approached them to talk to them about it.
Nice. So then after the sale, were you kind of relieved to be moving on to the next thing?
It was bittersweet. I was relieved that like we had found a way to ensure that Farmplicity has like a very successful future.
Right. Yeah, because that would be tough to watch it fail or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's always the fear when you start a company, that like you put all these hours of work into it and it'll just sort of,
I did all that for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And so
I had a fetal position on the floor. That's what I do every night.
Exactly. And so that was sort of a relief. I think like whether you sell a company after a couple years or whether you sell a company after 10 years, I'd imagine it's like that same sort of like thought of like, oh wow, this is great. Like we've built something that can last.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it was also just like sad to let go of that part of my everyday life and
Sure.
to like. It's difficult to like take myself off of admin on Facebook and disconnect.
Right. You're like, but I don't want to stop.
Exactly. I still sometimes get emails that have to do with it, and I'm just like, oh, I'll forward you to the person you should actually talk to about me. Oh, that's that's bittersweet.
Yeah. So not because I don't want to keep talking to you, I love it. But Logan, I get a question. What has it been like for you? I mean, what brought you to Champio, and tell us a little bit of your backstory. What got you into development and all that?
Yeah, sure. So to get me to Champio, excuse me, my girlfriend actually was searching through some like Facebook posts, and I guess she saw Jolijt's posting on just the WashU Computer Science Development Board, and shout out to her for that. And I just talked to Jolijt. Jolijt might have missed our first meeting, but I don't know.
That sounds like me. I'm either late or I don't show up, and people call me and they're like, "Where are you at, JJ?" I'm like, obviously not there. No, go ahead.
Well, I was impressed enough with what I saw about this company and the direction they were heading to, still keep an open mind, of course, and sign on. But me getting into development, I just started at WashU, just taking some classes, computer science, taking classes in Java and front end and all that. And then I wanted some real world experience, so I went through LaunchCode, and LaunchCode set me up with TrackBill. And then I spent pretty much a full year with TrackBill. And they, really I've had years and years of computer science training in school, but you see how little you really know once you have to apply it to a specific task.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, this was a little unfair. I was not prepared for this. I want my money back.
Yeah.
And in LaunchCode's case, it's for free, but from the school, you're like, I want my money back right now.
I know. Yeah, I mean, well, I learned some good bases, from the school. You don't realize, I guess, when things are being put in place, but they are. LaunchCode is great because, essentially being paid to learn.
Yeah,
it's like going to school, but instead of paying, I get paid. So
right.
Yeah.
I like that dynamic. How about I get paid? How about I get paid?
I can't really complain at all. After TrackBill, I just picked up a Champio, and I'm here.
Well, you two are two awesome people, for real, and it's really hard to find individuals who are younger that give a crap about their future, and you guys do, so that's really cool. So, what advice would you give to other young entrepreneurs looking to get started or to take their own startup to the next level? And I'm not young, but I'm going to be listening because I want to take my startup to the next level. So,
you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Just get your feet wet. Start small, and you don't have to. We have these big ideas, but Champio didn't just happen overnight. You don't just do a 48-hour coding session and make something happen. It's all about little chunks and manageable goals. Start small and don't be afraid to fail. If you fail, you never really fail. You kind of win or you learn, I guess. Just go for it.
Oh, that was exactly my advice. Damn it. I should have let you go first. I should have gone first. Right. I think essentially what I've learned over these last couple of years is that the difference between a startup often that's nothing more than an idea that some 20-year-old has and maybe plays around with a little bit, and one that's actually built is not your age or your experience or anything like that. It's really just the determination with which you execute. There's plenty of people that'll talk a lot about all these things that they want to do, and it's really just it's the people that actually send the email that you need to send and write the line of code you need to write that end up succeeding, and it's really hard to fail if you just do it, and it's not there's not a million things that can go wrong, but if you just do things, then you'll get somewhere. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss is it's really just it, that's the rule, and it works. And I would also say there's a lot of a lot of people get really just sort of intimidated by the thought that there's all of these other people out there that know so much more than we do, and that's definitely true. But I would say there's Google, so you should just Google stuff.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's ridiculous the kind of if you're a honey badger and if you know how to dig, you can find the answers that you want.
Yeah. Almost everything's on there. You just need to go look for it. And the other thing is they made it up at some point too. Everyone's just trying something,
Yeah, we're all winging it here. Nobody has all the answers.
Exactly.
Not even Mr. Buffett, So nobody has the answers. That's a really good point. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was my whole point.
Perfect. No, and it's true. Everybody has a 50-50 shot. Or less most of their day or lives, and so the other thing too is that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to touch on one more time was surrounding yourself with people that are productive, making sure that you're doing things and that other people are maybe filling the gaps where you may not necessarily have a strength in. And the thing of surrounding yourself with smart people, yeah, sure, whatever, but it's finding those smart people in the positions that they need to be in for your particular goal, right? Instead of just being like, oh, you're so smart, we should work together, and then nothing come of it because they're not good for what you're trying to do. I mean, they're good to know, but not good for what you're trying to do when you build your company. Kevin, do you have any other questions?
No, those were pretty much the ones that I was able to come up with. And, Logan, Jolijt, again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out this morning, talking about everything that you guys have going on, how you got into this, and I mean, what's next for Champio and you guys?
A lot. If you see our product roadmap, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of different ways in which we want to grow, and there's a lot of different things we want to do. And what we're really focused on right now is getting to our launch. So we want to start generating revenue sort of by the end of January, beginning of February, and we're really focused on figuring out exactly what's working for the beta testers, exactly what isn't working for them, optimizing the features that we're building smart, and just getting it done and getting it to a point where people will get a lot of value out of it and will pay us for it, basically.
No, that's awesome. I was actually curious. So, what has it been like for the? Because this just popped in. Sorry. I know I'm keeping you guys a little longer, but this is really important. The profit. Where do you guys when you're talking to people? Everybody wants something for free. Everybody. I mean, everybody. As soon as we start talking about pricing for things that we do, people are like, well, I don't know if I can do that. And you're just like, are you kidding me with it? I mean, people got to get paid, yo. So how do you guys, where are you guys at in that? I mean, do you guys feel like you know pretty much exactly what you can charge and how many clients you need to onboard and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, we definitely don't know anything exactly.
All right.
We know that there's demand for it, and I think from our conversations with beta testers, it's pretty clear that there's also demand that they would pay for. It's really companies spent about $4.6 billion on social media marketing last year,
right?
And they only got followers to engage with 1% of posts posted. So there's this massive gap between what companies think they can get out of social media and how much they're spending on it and how much they're actually getting out of it. And I think the way that we're trying to solve the problem will help close that gap a little bit. And so I think that there's definitely a lot of something that'll get paid for. But I think you're right that everybody wants something for free, and I think that that's another sort of tenet of entrepreneurship that I've grown to believe, which is that you need to start charging people as quickly as possible, because it's not fair to judge your performance by free stuff, because
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean people are going to pay for it, and it doesn't mean how much people are going to pay for it and stuff like that. And so it's a big struggle, and I think it should also definitely be a big priority of most companies. I think a lot of young people get lured into the story about Twitter and getting 1 million users before you have a revenue stream, and that might work for Jack Dorsey, but that's not going to continue to work constantly. And so it's sort of just being real about it. You just need to build a product that people will pay for, and need to understand as quickly as possible how much people will pay for it and whether it's actually something that's a sort of a viable model.
No, that was an awesome piece of information for our listeners. And the other thing too is that people are worth paying for, and that money will come back to you. But make sure you charge, because the worst thing you can do as a startup, I think, is undercutting everybody by going, you know what, I'm going to do this for free, and then all of a sudden the next thing you know, a whole bunch of people are going to contact you and all want it for free, so that you're starting from a position of, well, you did it for so-and-so for free, how come you're not doing it for me for free?
Absolutely. There's a really good book called Pumpkin Patch or something like that. Actually, I never read the book, but I heard the guy talk, and I was reading the talk. And essentially, he talks about the fact that, when you're starting a company, a lot of people are tempted to just sort of they're so desperate to get people to work with them that they'll take anything, and that's actually a very bad way to grow a company. And that really what you need to do is insist on finding those people that are the right fit for your business, and insist on finding the customers that are going to pay. And if you constantly are distracted by customers that aren't going to pay, or that are really rude or don't actually need you or don't work well with you, you're never going to find the ones that will like actually help you grow a great business.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's the truth. So, thank you both so much for being on. I hope that you'll come back on again when you guys are ready to launch. Keep us in the loop with everything that you're doing so that we can help promote you guys and what it is that you do, whether it be this and the companies that you will absolutely probably start and sell off later. Just keep us in the loop. We would love to talk about it. You're both awesome. Logan, where can people find out more about you and what you're doing?
Google search me. That's the best I got right now.
I love that answer.
Do I have a LinkedIn?
Yeah, he has a LinkedIn.
I think I do have a LinkedIn. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But I wouldn't use it.
So you know Aubrey, she's gonna probably bust you a little bit for that. Jolijt, how about you? Where can people find out more about you and what you're doing?
Google search.
No, don't say that. Good Lord.
I have a Twitter account. You can tweet at me.
Yay!
Does that count?
Yes.
It counts.
Good. It's Jolijt, which is complicated. So it's Jolijt and then another T.
You know, I said your name like 3 times and I still messed it up in the introduction, so I just want to say I'm sorry about that. But I blame everything on Kevin, so it's his fault for some reason I haven't figured out yet. No, I'm just messing with you. Anyways, if I didn't have him to pick on, honestly, I wouldn't be able to pick on anybody. So so people can find out more about Champio by going to champio.com, unless I'm wrong about that. And then you also have a Twitter handle as well. Why don't you tell everybody what the Twitter handle is?
The Champio Twitter handle is @bchampio.
And we should say that Champio is spelled Champio. So that's champio.com, and again, @BBE Champio, Champio. Again, Logan and Jolijt, you're both awesome people. Please keep us in the loop with everything you got going on. We would love to be beta testers, so we'll send you an email about that as well. And people need to pay you for this, so it's going to be awesome. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. We can't thank you enough, and have a great and wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks so much. You
Thanks,
guys
JJ.
too. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
And that doesn't end the show. Before we go on to the news of the week, let's talk about the partners, if you will, for STLTechTalk website. Treehouse Network Shop. It's a way for people to get together, an unconventional networking way to find find jobs, plural, or meet with other people in the area. Also, Tech Systems, Unidev, plural site. You can learn how to code and program. You can sign up for your 10-day free trial by going to STLTechTalk.com, tapping on the plural site banner. Scroll down, time in the middle of the page. Do that. Also, Charter Business for high-speed internet for your business. Contact us today for more information. So let's go ahead and get into the news rundown. Kevin, start us up with your first story, sir.
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about real quick is, we already mentioned stlouisdays.net, an amazing experience. Scott, Jeff, and just everybody else that we got to hang out with and talk with. Wonderful experience again, and I'm already looking forward to 2015. So,
aren't you?
Yes.
I'm ready to go. Even though I'm tired, and yesterday I could barely move, I'm still looking forward to next year.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. They all put on a wonderful conference, from the food, the sessions, just the whole environment, the ambiance. Everybody's great. Just can't say enough good things about stlouisdays.net conference.
Ooh.
All right, so the other stories that I wanted to get into, because I know we got to move really fast because we got another show recording and starting in about 15 minutes.
Oh, Kevin.
AT&T puts gigapower internet on hold as lawmakers deal with net neutrality issues. Now,
Really?
gigapower, people know Charter Spectrum, runs, super high speed, 100 megabits per second. Well, obviously, gigapower is going to be gigabits per second. So that's going to be more competitive with like the Google Fiber that's really popular over in Kansas City and down in Austin, Texas. And they're still looking at other areas to roll this out. But right now it's on hold because of this whole net neutrality thing. So lawmakers are still trying to figure all this out, and AT&T wants to hold out on pushing out all this money to develop this infrastructure before they roll forward with it. And to a point, I don't blame them because if
Oh, I
things
do.
are
That's crap. No. Motorola Mobility. Motorola. Oh my God. I'm sorry. AT&T Mobility. I like you guys. Believe it or not. I do. I actually. Obviously, we're big fans. Katie Nagus, over there, she's a phenomenal person, and we've had at the stores. But this is total junk. Do not hurt the possibility of so 2 million people are supposed to be getting high-speed internet, and AT&T puts that on hold because of the net neutrality rules. That's junk. If that it's just stupid. It's just a way. It's just a way to make the president and the FCC look bad. I can see right through it, and it's crap. I'm so mad about this story. I'm glad that we have it here, and we're talking about it. But don't let this AT&T thing be a thing. If you're on AT&T, call them or write into them or hit them up on social media for their Uverse stuff, because you have to understand AT&T is a big company. Their mobility side is different than their high-speed internet side. So when you understand that there's a couple of different businesses underneath the umbrella of AT&T, but
Right.
speak to them and let them know this is crap. This is total junk. They're just doing this to get in the face of the president, and whether you like him or not, what the net neutrality affects us all. Rich or poor, young or old, doesn't matter. This is crap. Sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
All right. No, I'm done with that story. So.
Okay, so my story is Launch Code celebrates their 1-year anniversary. You heard Logan earlier talking about his Launch Code experience and how awesome that has been for him. And so we just want to give a congratulations to Launch Code for their continued success. Also, Brian Felt from the Business Journal had an awesome write-up on Answers Core gross 389%. Scanlandalaris. Gosh, it's too early. It's a St. Louis-based accelerator program. Let's see, Wealth Access, Upside, and MyCard, 3 financial tech startups that have been through the St. Louis-based 630 Accelerator program were named among the world's 50 most innovative financial tech companies. Answer.core, the St. Louis company best known for Answers.com, is the 251st fastest growing company in North America. That's amazing, and congratulations. That's just phenomenal. They grew their revenue by 389% between 2009 and 2013. That's amazing. You're up, Kevin.
All right, so the other story that I wanted to talk about is Missouri's video game industry adds $39 million to the economy. Now, the Missouri video game industry grew more than 41% between 2009 and 2012, according to a new report out from the Entertainment Software Association. Now, there might be some people out there that does not realize that there's a lot of video game development here in St. Louis. Well, there is. And there are, what was some of the other numbers here? Oh, gosh, there was one that was, there it is. There's nearly 300 jobs that were created between 2009 and 2012 that have an annual average salary of nearly $88,000. So
Whoa. There's
video games being created here in the St. Louis, the Missouri area. It's just kind of like a quiet, we fly a little bit under the radar, obviously. We've got game developer companies such as Pixel Press and Upheaval Arts that have found particular success in crowdfunding, with St. Louis-based companies raising nearly $300,000 on Kickstarter in 2013 alone. So, thank you, Brian Felt, Biz Journals, for all that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just good to see. Good to see that.
Okay, so that ends our news segment of the show. If you want to comment or contribute to any local story or national story that you'd like for us to talk about, please hit us up, contact@stltechtalk.com, and or give us feedback through social media at STLTechTalk on Twitter. That's where, honestly, we're most active, just because it's a cross-platform solution to social media. I mean, it's gorgeous. And brevity works really well, right? Like, we don't have to read these really long email things. So that is up. And now, Kevin, you have an application pick of the week. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, this is by a friend of the show, Andy Long, who creates apps for not only Windows Phone but other platforms as well. For those of you that like Dave Ramsey, the financial quote-unquote expert whiz, Total Money Makeover, etc., etc., Andy has came out with an app it's been around for a while called Dave to Go, and it's available on Windows Phone, so you can keep up with all the Dave Ramsey stuff, listen to his prior episodes, get a lot of content from the website just right there on the go. It's free, so I definitely recommend going in and checking it out on Windows Phone. Dave to Go.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, we got a whole library full of Andy apps, so we can just kind of have those for the next, whenever until we find somebody else. All right. Anyway, so we got some meetups coming up this week. I'll go ahead and start off. Treehouse Network Shop has a meeting at Boo Cat Club on the 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. So go check that out. I was trying to type in, and for some reason my login credentials are kind of junk, but there's some other meetups this week. Let me pull that up.
There's a Code Until Dawn STL this week. It's Friday night, 5 o'clock. The St. Louis Drupal Users Group have their monthly meeting at 7 p.m. this Thursday.
Nice.
The Meteor St. Louis JSSTL meetup is Thursday, 6:30 p.m. How to get in trouble with CSS, the St. Louis WordPress meetup, this Wednesday night at 6:30.
And also, what Jolijt was just saying was about Wednesday night. There's a startup thing.
Start Louis, I believe.
No. This Wednesday night, there's a startup meetup or something like that. There's 1,000 people going to be there. We'll have to look on that. Anyways, awesome. Thank you all for listening to the show. Charities you should all know about is Hope Line, a domestic violence prevention support organization for domestic violence. The Women's Safe House is another one. Safe Connections is another one. Also, Schumann Water. Donate your old shoes. It's a local-based company, and they provide water for third world nations drinking, so they can actually have something to drink every once in a while. It's a local-based thing, man. Take your shoes down there. Find out more about Schumann Water by going to schumannwater.com, and shoe is SHOE, and then man, same, water. You got the gist. So thank you to our guests. That was a wonderful talk that we had with them. It was totally worth it. We also hope that they can hook up with us and we can talk about more of their information in the future and what they have going on. So thank you to all of our fans. We love and thank you for your support of the show. So from the entire STL Tech Talk crew, stay frosty. We're out.